Welcome to Rewired. Neuroscience meets real life change. This is your space for unlocking intentional growth in yourself and in the people you lead, coach, and inspire. I'm Tiffany Grimes with Empower Coaching and Training, and I'm so happy to be here with you. Each episode of Rewired blends brain science and real-world application, delivering practical tools you can use right away to create lasting change. Through expert interviews, powerful coaching conversations, and bite-sized solo episodes, I share the neuroscience-based strategies for rewiring habits, expanding possibilities, and living with purpose. Whether you are pursuing your own transformation or helping people navigate theirs, you'll find insight, community, and empowerment here. This is where science meets soul. The change gets real. Today's topic is the huge power of small steps. And I want to join you about this big myth that I think I want to use Rewire to bust, which is that people believe, and I work with a lot of people, what I hear over and over is this idea that massive transformational actions are the only thing that really create big results, right? Like go big or go home, this whole idea. We've got to really upend everything. And the simple answer is that neuroscience, psychology, and coaching sciences all agree. And I think it's really great news because the most lasting change actually comes from tiny intentional steps, which I think is fascinating because those are the hardest things for most of us to put into place. We go big, but then we often fail big, right? Because we didn't do the work that it takes to change the rest of our life to really live into these big changes. Micro behaviors are the answers. Over time, they rewire your brain, they build resilience, and they fuel success. And I would just underscore, they sustain success, because as we put these small changes into place, we're changing our daily habits. We are rewiring our brains and creating new identities and new ways of being. I like to think of it as kind of like compounded interest, but instead of money, it's your habits slowly, quietly, intentionally, day by day, paying out some pretty big dividends. So let's talk about what 3 steps you can use right away to really begin to make some huge changes in your life by making small steps. Here are 3 that I love. They are calendaring your commitments, building tiny rituals, and then repairing quickly when we fail, because we will. So let's go through each one of these. I'm going to start with step 1, which is calendaring your commitments. I'm very passionate about this one. I can't wait to tell you all about it. So get ready, get your calendar out and pause it after this before we get to step 2 and start putting some things in your calendar. It really works. So let's talk about this a little bit. So when you put even the smallest action, like a 5-minute walk or a 5-minute journaling time or a 3-minute mindful break between meetings that you build in and block out on your calendar, it leaps from intention to reality. It leaps from, oh, that would be a good idea, or wouldn't it be nice if I could, to it's happening, it's in there. And when something is in our calendar, we tend to honor it and build around it. Neuroscience shows us that when we repeat a behavior in a consistent context, it moves from the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is the part of the brain that handles effortful planning, into the basal ganglia, which is the brain's habit center. So when we are consistently doing something and we've put it on our calendar and we see it and we're blocking out time for it, it doesn't matter how small it is. We're actually moving the part of the brain that is processing this action. So that means it eventually becomes automatic. So the fight every day, the, oh, I should have gone for a walk, I should have taken my time. We free up all of that energy that we're putting to the brain. And instead, that can go towards other things, right? That energy can go towards more creativity, more connection, whatever it is. Research shows habits take an average of 66 days to become automatic. And really what that means, it's not a magic switch that just flips. It's a neural pathway that is being built. So sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's slower, but the key is consistency, day in and day out, or week in, week out, whatever the habit is, that it is on your calendar and that you are actually committing to it. You're speaking to it. Someone says, oh, hey, can you meet at noon? And you say, let me check. No, I can't. I have a commitment. I can do 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Right? We just hold that space. A few years ago, I was coaching a therapist, which, just side note, I love that. I so honor therapists who would go do their own work in this way. And it was amazing. We had a great coaching relationship. And we were talking about building habits and that, kind of this idea of really building habits that get us out of the fight to make things happen, and rather it's just habitual. It's the things that we do, and how easy it is to build the habits around activities that aren't necessarily good and healthy for us and that harm us in the long run. So it was this really great conversation, and I was sharing with her how I use my calendar, and I use color coding, and I put everything on there for personal and professional. And so anyway, we were chatting about it, and I shared my screen, and I recall, we were on Zoom, and I recall her face. And because she was a therapist, I was telling myself a story that she was making some decisions about me that maybe perhaps I was crazy, because my schedule looks wild. Like, it is full of color. It is full from the beginning to the end. You can go months out and find, you can go years out and find things on my calendar. And so I was kind of, just studying her face until finally she just broke out laughing, which I didn't necessarily feel better about in the moment, I will add, but then quickly added, this is brilliant. I remember that. She kind of threw her head back laughing and like, this is brilliant. Of course, scheduling works. And she began to do it, and it really had an impact in her life. She was in charge of her own schedule, and yet she was not using it to her advantage because she had a whole bunch of stories going on in her head about what we had, how we have to use our time and all of these things. So anyway, it was really powerful. And I feel really passionate about this because I am working with people who I see often put off what it is they really want. The eating healthy, the exercising, the mindfulness routine, the relationships they're after, the creativity they seek. I talk to people day in and day out who are constantly putting that off because they can't find the time. And that statement to me is just appalling, because we don't find time. We don't go searching for it. In our world, we will not find it. Rather, we have to make time. We have to make time, and our calendars are such a powerful place to do that. You could even do some calendar hygiene, like who's putting stuff on your calendar. If you're in a professional environment, you might have people putting meetings on your calendar and deciding things for you. Maybe there's some conversations that need to be put in place. Like, I won't meet back to back. I need time to transition, to use the restroom, to grab a glass of water, to or from this time to this time, I don't do any meetings. I'm blocking that out. I can't have it. And I know not everybody has that freedom with their schedule, but maybe do some calendar hygiene as you're in there, really thinking, what do I want my days, my weeks, my months, and ultimately my life to be composed of? What do I want to prioritize? So pull out your phone, pull out your computer, look at your calendar. Are you on there anywhere? Are your passions or your creativity, are they on there anywhere? And if not, and even if they are, if you want to increase it after hearing this, find a 5-minute habit that you would like to begin to really live into. And maybe, you have one ready right now. I want to do a mindfulness routine. I want to get up off my desk and, do something, whatever it is. 5 minutes a day, write down a couple journal lines, poetry lines, a line of a song, whatever it is you want to do. Find something that you want to dedicate 5 minutes to, and then schedule it. Name it. Name it something fun if you want, like wacky, wandering around the office, or, deep journaling in 5 minutes, or something fun if you want. Name it. Put it on there. Repeat it. And then hold that as something valuable as you would the time that you're spending with other people, and the resources and energy and creativity that you're giving to others. Make that sacred. So when someone asks, hey, can you meet at that time? You go, no, I have a commitment. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to, and nobody else has to understand it. You just say, I have a commitment. How about 3:30? Okay, off of my soapbox there. Okay, let's move to step 2, because this one is also a lovely one, but I promise I'll be a little bit shorter on this one. Step 2 is building tiny rituals. So what does that mean? And maybe for you it sounds a little wooey. For me it sounds wonderful. Kind of going from just getting things done to some emotional connection or meaning behind it. So let's talk about rituals. First of all, what are they? Habits are the what. So habits are the things that we're doing day in and day out. Rituals are the why. It's the meaning behind it, the emotion that you attach to those actions, to the habits. Neuroscience tells us rituals actually reduce the brain's error-related negativity, the neural signals tied to stress and anxiety around failure, right? We can all kind of connect to that. In plain English, rituals calm our nervous system. So they activate our parasympathetic nervous system, they lower anxiety, and they help habits stick. So if we are trying to create new healthy habits, we've got them on our calendar, we might want to build in some ritual practice around that to really help it stick. So here's what that means. They do not have to be elaborate. It does not have to be, a candle and essential oils, and it doesn't. I think when we think of rituals, it might feel a little out of what we do on the day-to-day, but rituals can actually just be anything that is emotionally anchored. You probably have rituals in your life that you're doing that you are unaware of, and that actually might not be serving you. So ways that we can switch that are, we can think about before we open our laptop, we can take a deep breath, or before we log into Zoom, rather than just trying to get a little bit of work done in those 30 seconds before the room opens, we use it to kind of take a deep breath or ground our feet on the floor, for example. So we can pair our habits with our rituals, right? I want to repeat that. We can pair our habits with our rituals to really make them more successful. That can be an affirmation, a mantra, which is just something we repeat, a breath. It can be a smile that fills your body with some good feelings. Make it yours. Do what is right for you, but something that is connecting this action with the meaning behind why you're doing the action. So here are a few of my own rituals that I practice. So before getting into content creation, so for me, that's writing and podcasting and social media and making slide decks for presentations and all of those things. I take a deep breath and I say to myself, I choose progress over perfection. I literally say that. I say that every single day to myself. And I shared last time in podcast 2, my one of my values is excellence, which can turn into perfectionism. So for me, it's a really important statement. When I go into a place where I'm going to be creative, I can kill the fun in that pretty quickly by trying to make it perfect. So I repeat that to myself. So I make that habit wrapped in a ritual. So every day, I do this thing day in and day out. I have this time where I go in, I create content, and I say this before I go in. And it's whether I spend 15 minutes doing it or 3 hours doing it, I say that before I go in. Another thing is that I start my day each day with a meditation, which took me a while to really build into my life. This was probably 5 years ago. I put it on my calendar. You can bet it's on there. I call it morning magic. Yes, I do. And it was one of the things that made that therapist laugh that I was coaching. But before I launch into my meditation, which I do for about a 10-minute meditation, as I go into that, I should say, so it's part of my 10-minute practice, but as I start each and every day, I just feel grateful. Even if something terrible is going on in my life, I take a moment just to feel like I am alive. I woke up this morning. I have this body that gets me up mountains and lets me hug my children. I have my breath. I have the ability to smell sunflowers and taste fresh tomatoes. And I have good people in my life that make me laugh. My God, what a gift, right? Like I really feel that each and every morning I take a moment to do that. It literally takes a minute. And I feel it. I feel that deep gratitude in my body. Now, are things crazy in the world? Do politics make me want to pull my eyeballs out of my head? Yes. And I have a body, I have a brain, I have people. It's amazing. It's a gift. And reminding myself of that is transformative each and every single day. So those are a few of my rituals. I'm curious to hear what you create and maybe what you're already doing. I'd love to hear. Okay, let's get into our last one, which is step 3, and it is it's repair. It's being able to pick ourselves back up when, not if, we fail. So the part that nobody really wants to admit when they start going into making change and transformations is that we absolutely, we will fail. We will fall off of our track. We will skip days on end. Things will happen. We will get busy. Our survival brain will tell us how we do not need to do this. This is not who we are, and so forth. That is just part of being a human on this earth. The neuroscience of resilience, which is our ability to come back, right, to return to the practice, says that what matters is not perfection. It's the ability to quickly repair. And there are parts of our brains that are impacted by how we talk to ourselves when we fail. So if we are beating ourselves up, we are activating a shame-based part of our brain that helps us quit more quickly. And if instead we are repairing thoughtfully and lovingly and through self-compassion, we're activating this caregiving and resiliency part of our brain, which helps us repair and return to our practice and realign with our goals. So think of repair as like brushing your teeth. You know, if you miss one night, you don't quit forever, right? You're not like, well, that's it. I guess I'll never take care of my teeth again. Or even I missed the 6-month dental appointment. I'll never go to another one. Instead, we just pick up and we go again, right? And there's the process of really purposefully activating the resiliency zones in our brain to help ourselves do that. So research shows that small adjustments and self-compassion boost motivation and help us keep going. So we will often turn to beating ourselves up. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I ever thought I'd do this in the first place. Who do I think I am? And literally, we are just tying ourselves down when we do that. So if what we want in talking to ourselves like that is to actually realign with our goals, we have to speak differently to ourselves. It's okay to fail. This is normal. You know, what's important to me here? What interests me about this goal in the first place, right? Or maybe what does progress look like here? How am I measuring success as I move towards this goal? As we talk to ourselves, we get curious and we practice self-compassion. And in doing so, we build resiliency. I do think it's worth noting that if we find ourselves at this step over and over and over again, that we're continuing to repair over and over and over again about the same goal, I want to just encourage that we pause in that maybe and reassess what's motivating us to keep that goal. I can't tell you how often I have done this. And occasionally I find that when I ask those questions, I actually reconnect with my purpose. I realign, right? Like, yeah, this is real for me. This is what I want. I do want this, whatever it is. For me, it's like a gargantuan chunk off of work where I'm traveling the world. And like, I do really want this. So what am I doing every day to move towards this? But occasionally what I find is that when I ask that question, like, why do I keep finding myself here where I haven't followed through with this? And that's not a shame-based statement. It's rooted in curiosity. What I will often find is that I don't really want that goal anymore. I'm a goal-oriented person. So sometimes I'm just trying to reach a goal because I said I'd do it, but I said I'd do it 2 years ago, and now it's not meaningful for me. So what is, so I can kind of realign with that. Or what I find is that my drive to reach this goal is not rooted in desire or passion, but rather competitiveness or shoulds or ultimately fear. So I just did that recently, and it's honestly what got me to this podcast, which is only number 3, right? So it's brand new because I spent the last year really giving TikTok a shot, really working to make my videos every day for weeks on end and counting my likes and my views and just like not really loving that. And I would skip weeks and then I'd, oh, why would you put all this work into this and then not finish it? So when I sat down and did my own work here, what I found is that the answer to those questions was like, I'm doing social media because I feel like I need to be relevant. I feel like my business and power won't be seen if I'm not on that platform. And I hated that answer. And I knew it wasn't true. And so it was really interesting. And so I thought, well, what do I want? What is my point in this? And the answer was, I want deeper conversations and deeper thought processes, and I want to get people connected to tools of empowerment. That's how that came about, was through this repair process and the practice of compassionately being curious with myself around my continued failures in the social media world. So let's summarize. Let's wrap this up. So if you are really thinking about a goal that you're moving towards or some change you want to make in your life or incorporate into your life, try these 3 things. Put it on your calendar. Calendar your commitments. Put it on there. Hold it as sacred. 2, build tiny rituals. Put meaning behind the what. And finally, repair quickly. So as you find yourself failing, not moving towards the goal, not meeting the timelines, not holding your calendar space over and over again, pause, come back to it, get curious. Small steps aren't small at all. They're the brain's most reliable way to create big, lasting change. And I think that that's really great news, because maybe you only have 5 minutes to give to something each day. And when you start to see progress stack up, you realize you've been rewiring your brain all along to make this happen. So a couple things I want to tell you. One, if you want to work with a certified professional coach to really consider the neuroscience of change and success and how you can put small steps into action, we have a team of amazing ICF certified professional coaches at Empower Coaching and Training. We're here to support you. We'll help build momentum. We'll help rewire the habits. We will help create sustainable transformation and all of those beautiful things that coaching does for us. So you can check us out at yesempower.com. We have all sorts of workshops you can also check out. On September 16th, we are hosting Cassie Lopez, and the workshop she's teaching is ADHD Unmasked. Embrace your ADHD brain. That is from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. 90-minute class. I can't wait. I'll be actually interviewing Cassie Friday of next week, so she'll be on episode 4 of Rewired. Until next time, friends, be well. Thanks for tuning in to Rewired. Neuroscience meets real life change. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd be so grateful if you could take a moment and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback helps more people discover this brand new podcast and gain the tools, insights, and inspirations they need to create lasting change.